What's going on, you guys? Today is the third review of the Samurai team. So we are taking a look at G03 Ganoh. Weird name, but hey, red fire truck dude. I'm all for that. Box is exactly the same size as Jinbu's. That's because this one and Jinbu, the yellow jet, do not have lights and sounds in them. So we're gonna open him up and take a quick look. Today we are taking a look at Ganoh from the Samurai team. And of the three, this one is probably my favorite in terms of just the figure itself. Overall, he is a very intimidating looking figure, but he does lack a little bit of detail in some aspects. I would love to see some more paint schemes. Sorry, can't talk. The other thing I don't like is he does have the same issue that Jinbu has with the giant feet for combination and a fist for a heel. Yeah, that's a little bit annoying, but it's meant to do three different things. What can you do? Overall, as I said though, I do like him the best. He comes with this weird spear or lance that, I'll be honest, in the show looks really cool, but in practice for a toy is pretty much useless. It's not really a spear at all, and it's got this hilt that it acts more like a helicopter blade with points on the end. The other issue is getting it into anyone's fists is a chore. He also does come with his own Kabuto, which looks a little bit odd, I will freely admit. It's supposed to be a shield spiky thing gun. It works-ish. If I had any complaint about Ganoh other than the weapons being dumb, it's just there's a lack of paint, really. There's just a uniformity of three different colors. While I have no problem with that, let's face it, the other two guys had the same thing. There's nothing that really breaks it up except for this little bit of yellow here and his face. And speaking of his head sculpt, it's actually really cool. It looks tough, gruff, and rather macho, in a Japanese samurai sort of way. I like it a lot. Love the blue eyes, too. Kind of reminds me of Ironhide, really, or a samurai version of Ironhide, and I like to think of him like that. Transformation from robot mode into vehicle mode is, like the other two, pretty darn simple. To start, grab the little skirt here, pull up to bring up the bottom of the vehicle mode, flip it up, and then push that part back down. Take the arms, fold the arms up and peg them into the the forearms, fold them up and peg them into the upper arms. Then take the front parts of the chest and flip them out, and then these parts will unpeg. Unfortunately, part of the transformation is this peg going into that hole and that peg going into this hole here. This does not really want to stay all that well. It just kind of pops off pretty easily. Like the others, or like Jinbu, turn the head around and fold it down into the body of the vehicle. Fold the arms back and flip up the forearms to form sirens at the top. Unfortunately, they don't really peg into place all that well. They do peg into the little flaps here, but they don't peg in that well. So you'll push the pegs in and then they'll just pop right back out, as you can see. For the legs, actually turn the legs 180 and peg them together, but I don't like to peg them together right away. First, fold up the feet, fold up the giant combiner fists, and flip the legs up. And I like to do it one at a time, because if you do them both at the same time, they tend to get out of alignment with the rest of the toy. So once you, see, I just did it there. So that actually tucks in underneath the foot. Combine those together, put them together, and here we have the little vehicle mode. And by little, I mean a big kind of fire truck personnel carrier. Of the three vehicle modes, Ganoh is by far my favorite. I just dig this vehicle mode. Yeah, he's got two giant robot fists sticking off the back, but you can kind of fold the feet out from robot mode to offset that, but that just looks as stupid, so I just leave them folded up. I just like it. I like it. It's very classic G1 figure, and this actually makes me think of an updated Ironhide. It really does. Just the red really, and the red and the boxiness of the vehicle mode makes me think of Ironhide from G1. So repaints, you could, I don't know, make Kenzan into Prowl. And maybe repaint the yellow Jinbu into somebody else. You can attach his weapon and Kabuto in this form. The weapon will peg in snugly to the vehicle mode, so just fold it up like we've been doing for the combinations. And then these pegs back here will peg in to slots that are right behind or underneath the feet and right behind the sirens. And then this will actually peg into place into these spots right here. So just get those lined up, and there we go. And that looks absolutely ridiculous. Posability for Ganoh in robot mode is pretty much the same as Jinbu. Head is on a swivel. There's a ratchet and swivel here in the shoulder. It looks like there's a ratchet in the elbow, but it's just a hinge. No hand articulation, and there is a side swivel just above the elbow. Ratchets aplenty in the hip and in the knee. And unfortunately, the giant combiner leg does not peg in anywhere. I really wish it did, but they stay in place much better than they do on Jinbu. So let's go ahead and get Ganoh merged up with the other guys. First off, we've got Kenzan, who will actually be forming the tummy. He is going to be starting off in that weird half-transformed state once again. And then Jinbu is going to start off in robot mode. So let's go ahead and get into it and start off with Jinbu, who will form the legs. For Jinbu forming the legs, we are going to start off with turning the head around and folding it straight back. Taking the forearms and folding them up into the upper arms. Coming down to the feet, we are going to fold the tips of his feet straight down and then fold the shins down to form the giant robot feet, and then twist the tips of the feet around like that. And, well, that's just about it. There is a little bit more. We're going to just take the wings and kind of do one click on, they're not ratcheted, but they are on hinges. So we'll do one click of the hinge to put it off at like a 45-degree angle and then flatten them out. So what you kind of want to do is get them just next to or just underneath the hinge that connects the ball-jointed elbow or arm. And there is a reason for this, which we'll get into in a little bit. And then once you do that, you can fold down the wings. And trust me, I've tried to have the arms hidden more for this leg component, but if you put the arms back, you actually run into clearance issues a little bit later down the line. And we're going to get into that clearance issue now. All right, so Kenzan, taking Kenzan. I'm not going to lie. This is probably the worst use of Kenzan throughout all of the figures. This is absolutely insanity given form here. So what we're going to do is, you see this peg? We have to get this leg situated such that it pegs in here. We're going to start off by first coming around and making sure that the hands are folded up. Do one click out. Then take the ratchet here just above the knee, or what is the knee for Kenzan, and fold that straight back like that. Then take, what I like to do is just push this up and out of the way. Then collapse the leg like this and turn it out to the side. Then we can take this panel and actually close it up. And then do one more click on the ratchet in the robot mode shoulder and work it such that everything lines up to get this peg into this hole. What the? So while I was transforming this guy for Ganoh, yeah, it just started making noises, but I didn't push the button. I push the sides. What in the ever-loving hell? There aren't buttons here. What is going on? I'm just putting my thumb here and applying a little bit of pressure. Is there a button over here? I am mystified. Why is it doing that? These aren't buttons! So believe it or not, here's the way the one leg is supposed to be transformed. It isn't pretty at all, and it's going to cause issues, trust me. So what we'll do is 2 clicks of the ratchet here at Kinzon's shoulder, then put the leg all the way back, and then bring the leg up like this. I'm closing the flap. And then bring this other ratchet all the way around. And we'll turn it around, and the peg will peg into the hole on the side of the wheel, and then the slot will peg in there. And once you get everything situated, it should stay together relatively okay. For Ganoh, into combine mode, it is best to start with him in vehicle mode. Now, to start, we will take his legs and we will bring them straight down. Then we will take the little area where his headlights are and the grill, and that will get flipped up. We will then lift up his head and spin it around. Next, we will take the arms and we will swing them forward like this. Then take the arms and turn them around such that the elbow is facing towards the front of the figure. Fold the flaps in towards the elbows like that, and then grab the wheels here by his hips, and they will flip up like this. Next, we'll turn the figure around and pull down while pushing up. Pull down on the legs while pushing up on the upper torso, and that will unpeg this section here. So we can flip that up and out of the way. Then take the legs and bend them forward at the knees like this, and then that will allow us to, I like to bring them all the way forward, allow us to bring this whole section up and around like that. Then we could bring the legs out to form the robot arms, and to be honest, you're best off just leaving it like this for right now. Tummy, head, and Kabuto. And here is Ganoh, and he is a bloody mess. Now, I will be freely admitting that I like the look of this thing. I think the red, yellow, and blue work really well, but he is negatively affected by so many factors that this is by far the worst of the combinations, and chiefly because of 2 reasons. 1, Jinbu, these legs are far too loose. The amount of weight that is up here on the upper torso cannot be held by these ratchets, and he has a tendency to want to fall backwards as well. The ratchets in his legs are far too weak unless you spread the legs to spread out the load a little bit. I don't know if you just saw me when it moved. There he goes. You just have to turn him such that you pray that he doesn't fall over. The other issue is Kenzon's legs here. They affect posability such that this is the only pose you could get with Ganoh. Forget anything else. Because of the way he poses, this is it. You're not going to get anything else, sadly. Overall, this thing is a mess. I would turn on the lights and sounds, but, well, here we go. I mean, he's got a Jinbu sticking off of his... I mean, he literally has Jinbu as his butt. Oh, Oh, shut up. If you haven't guessed by now, the electronics don't work real well. Also, the problem with this guy is he doesn't hold together all that well. The connector that connects Ganoh and Kenzan isn't very strong. In fact, it's bent backwards because there's not enough tolerance in the plastic to allow the connection to really hold. And then the connection between Kenzan and Jinbu is very, very tenuous at best, even on any of the combinations. So there's that. It looks okay, but yeah, it doesn't hold together too well. I do love the Kabuto, though. I absolutely adore this one. Between Jinbu and this one, it is a hard choice to tell you which is my favorite. This looks more like a classic samurai helmet than anything else. Plus, I just love the new Autobot symbol that they're using with the samurai team. Just really works well and pulls the figure together nicely. One way to fix Gogano is to actually use Kenzan as the arms, as opposed to Gogano's arms, which you could deploy up top, off to the side, or any which way you want. You can also take the legs, oops, that's just falling off. You can also take the legs of Jinbu and kind of collapse them down, but you're going to get a midget with giant arms, so that is not going to work at all. And with a slight change to the transformation and removing Kenzan, we can get a better figure as well. In fact, the more I fiddle with these, the more I am convinced that Kenzan is the root of a lot of problems with this set. Ironically, combining Ganoh with Kenzan just by themselves works. The connection is still a little bit tenuous and a little bit frustrating, but overall I think this actually works pretty well. It's kind of sad that all of these guys work better as Voyager Energon combiners than as a three-part team. Saying that Ganoh is my favorite of the three samurai team isn't really that great of a compliment. I do like this figure quite a bit, but like all the other figures on the samurai team, he suffers greatly from the fact that he combines with the other guys. Now, if they were two-part combinations, I think that would work much, much better than three-part combinations. But it's a three-part combiner system that just doesn't work all that well. Yes, you could get like a multi-armed combination system going with some of the combined setups, but it's just, they're not fun to have this much frustration with, or it's not fun to have this much frustration with these figures. So guys, I gotta say, Ganoh is probably the best of the bunch. You might have different favorites, but yeah, I can't really recommend any of these guys because none of them are just really all that good, to be honest.